Hey, you. Yeah, you. What you doing? I know what I'm doing. I'm starting my week off right with Talking About the Blues podcast, baby.
What's going on? What's going on? You are now bluesing with the number one blues broadcast in New York City, talking about the blues, baby. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, Instagram, like the Facebook page, and subscribe to the website. Stay tuned for our live interviews, baby. What's going on, good folks? I am joined. I call her Kelly Z, right? The lead singer of Kelly's Lot. Now, this band is groovy to me, and I'm going to discuss this with her very shortly. They remind me, as well as her, they remind me of Jefferson Airplane. They are really funky. They're really bluesy. And we're going to get to know her and her journey in blues and music. Kelly, what's going down?
Well, I'm just excited to be talking to you, Jack, and I love talking to people who care about the blues.
I dig it. So you're going to love this conversation.
Good.
So, you know what? And I say this all the time, I know the people are tired. Let's jump right into it. Tell us, if you can remember, because first of all, you guys have been a band since 1995.
That's right.
That is awesome. I don't think I've spoken to anyone who's purposefully been a band for that long.
You know, it's been really wonderful. It's I can't believe it's 20 years, and we actually, we were averaging 4 to 5 gigs a month all those 20 years, and we're an independent band. We don't have a label. We've done it all ourselves, all the tours, all the international stuff. We just keep going forward because we love doing it. And so, it's a family. I think that's what's kept us together.
You said so many things. First and foremost, that's a blessing, and that's great. And that's something that we should celebrate. The fact that you're a family, you get past the lows, you celebrate the highs, but you're still together, and we need to see more of that.
Yeah. It's hard to be, I think it's hard to stay in as a family when there's, you already have a family, you have a job, you have all these other things, or music is a hobby sometimes for some people, or it's serious, but you to commit to it, you already have so many other commitments, and somehow we just made that one of our first commitments, the people in the band, and we've had a few people come in and out of the band, but they always seem to come back because of the family feeling.
Well, let's talk about that.
Sure.
Having, you're being adults with adult responsibilities, and then still being able to make this a priority. Let's talk about that. How hard or easy was that?
It was very hard emotionally because you become attached, like a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a brother or sister, and then when they break your heart, because, when they break your heart, it's they're leaving the band or they need to take a break. Those kind of things are a little harder than just not talking to your sister for a while or something, because you're actually having to replace that person. You can't just take a break from them. You have to actually replace the drummer, replace the bass player for a while or forever. And so it's a little harder in that sense because you're not just taking a break. You're
right.
Actually replacing them. And then you miss them, and then you get attached to the next person. But the thing is I've always said that once you're in Kelly's Lot, you're always in Kelly's Lot. That's what I've always said to all the players. So we try to make them feel like they always welcome back in any way we can find. We're still loyal to the people who are in the band at the time, and we make them feel like they're in the family, every single person. We love driving to the gigs together. We all like hanging out together. So, it's been hard losing band members that I felt, of course, I felt like they're all my family, but there's special ones that I really hurt losing. But, those ones came back, and I kind of knew they would. I knew they had to kind of grow up a little,
right.
Realize, through whatever they were going through, they wanted to go to a different style of music, or they had a girlfriend now, and they had, whatever reason, I had to kind of be patient and say, this is their life. And I think my attitude is what kept this band together, because I even tried to help find some of these band members better things to do. Like one of my bass players, who was a fantastic bass player, Mark Drews, he wanted to do this full time. He wanted to go on the road full time. So him and I were working to try to find him, a band that was out there working full time. So if we found that for him, I would lose him as a bass player. But it was more important that we do that for him, because that was his life.
Right.
Playing 4 to 5 gigs a month with me isn't going to give him a living.
Right.
So, my attitude that, if you have something better to do and you're not happy right now and you want to leave and come back, that's okay. It's like a family, so you can do that. Now, when you come back and we've got a player that, is what you do, you may not get back in right away. You may not get back in at all, but, it's a family.
Right. So now, do you have a besides Kelly's Lot, a job, or how does this work?
Well, I have done publicity. I'm a publicist. I've done stuff for charities and for other bands, and but mostly charities. And then I also do the band myself. I do everything for the band. So I get extra money from that band. The band members let me make some money from the money we make for doing what I do. So I like get paid a percentage or $100 a gig or something extra for doing all the work I do.
Right, which, Kelly's Lot is the epitome of independence, I have to say. To be able to maintain this long on an independent circuit before being independent was popular. Kudos to you, first and foremost.
Thank you.
Now, with that being said, I would like to ask you, did the digital explosion help, hinder? How did that fit into your already the way you moved as an independent artist from the beginning? Well,
when I first started the band, I'd already been doing, more folk music by myself and a guitar before the band started. But in '95, when I started the band, that was kind of around that time when, the internet was really popping a little. It was coming up, okay? Mm-hmm. And I was lucky enough to spend some time on the internet and meet some people that were very savvy on the internet, that taught me. Madeline Sklar from Go Girls Music.
Wow.
She was in the forefront of all of it, and she was teaching me. We became friends, and she said, you got to get on this, you got to get on that. And so I was taking her advice. I was going to music conferences, South by Southwest and Nemo in Boston, just learning what I could learn, and she was guiding me a lot with that. And I did have the time, because my husband as well, who's in the band, Perry, he had a full-time job, or, it was kind of independent contractor, but working full-time hours, but he was able to kind of pick his hours a lot of times.
Right.
Well, he was able to pay our bills, most of the bills. So I have to say that was something I was given. That was a good thing for me. I didn't have to really stress out about paying all the bills myself, and so we were partners in the band. I mean, when the band started, he wasn't in the band, and then a year and a half later, he joined the band and became my partner in the band. And we were able to record because he is a recording engineer, so we didn't have to pay for things. He had the equipment, he had the wherewithal to do records, he had connections, he had all that. So I was very lucky. The band was very lucky to have Perry. I mean, one of our first records is Live at the Troubadour, and he did that. He came into the Troubadour in L.A. and brought his D88s, which is it's a recording device, and he recorded our concert Live at the Troubadour.
Nice.
And so that was able to get a CD out there to everybody pretty quickly, and that was in '96. So everybody that's been in the band tries to give of themselves and what their connections that they have. But Perry specifically brought us to a professional level very fast.
Right.
I mean, I didn't know anything about recording, so he brought us to a different level.
That's on so many levels a marriage made in heaven. You know,
Yeah, I guess you're right. You
on
know,
so many
it
levels.
was. I just owe him a lot. I owe Alex Peterson, who started the band. She saw me sing and said, "I've got to put a band around you," and she got a demo made for me. She started Kelly's Lot. I think I would have been only a singer-songwriter with my guitar if it wasn't for her. And then when she backed away from the band because she got sick and she decided she wanted to have kids and get married and take a break, and so she kind of was taking a small break, and Perry said, well, how about you and I do something, keep the band going until she wants to come back, because it's always about somebody wanting to come back.
Right.
And I said, sure. You know, I'm not sure if I would have kept the whole band thing going if it wasn't for him and her. They imagined a band around me. They imagined me as a rocker chick, as a blues chick. That's how they imagined me. They imagined me with a band behind me, and I never had that imagination. I never thought I could have a band around me. I always thought it would be me and a guitar.
Well, you know what? I'm happy because that's a perfect segue into what I wanted to ask you. First and foremost, I've been following you since we've met online, and you got some chops. Let's start there. And
you.
not for nothing, Perry got some guitar chops. I see how he rocks. Kudos to Perry as well and the entire band. Now, you answered how you went from singer-songwriter to band, because that was my actual question. But let's talk about those humble beginnings.
Yep.
You know, where were you at artistically, and why did you just see yourself as a singer-songwriter?
You know, it's funny because I got a guitar when I was 12. My biggest influence is my mom. And when I was really young, she'd be listening to, you know, some of the greatest women singers. I remember that back then, like, you know, Della Reese, Julie London, Lena Horne, Nancy Wilson,
Wow.
Billie Holiday. You know, my mom was blasting that music at 2 o'clock in the morning because she was a single mom with 5 kids, and she was sad at night. She was sad at night. We would be sleeping, and she'd be playing that music in the living room. And so for me, I learned, this is my humble beginnings, I learned that music is a way to deal with pain. That's the only thing I ever knew music to be when I was that age. Music was to deal with pain. Music was to deal with frustrations, pain, loneliness. That's what music was. I wasn't the person that would go out to a live concert and rock out and have fun with music. That wasn't what music was to me. As you know, before I was, who knows, probably before I was 25.
Wow.
It was always a way to deal with pain. And so when my mother gave me this guitar, you know, I'd already been writing songs. I was writing songs because I had my own pain. I was writing songs because I needed to speak out, and I needed to give myself some sort of therapy.
Right.
So that's why I started to play the guitar, to write music. That was it. I didn't care ever about singing in public. That wasn't ever my goal. Ever was not my goal. My goal was to use my music alone in a room, to write a song, and deal with my feelings. So that's where it started. It did start for me with blues. It did start with me, and because of those women singers that were taking blues, almost an R&B standard blues genre. It wasn't traditional blues, but it was, you know, it was Della Reese, Lena Horne, all them.
Yeah, it was blues.
Billie Holiday, you know, I mean, that was blues.
Yeah,
what
blues
I knew
by
blues
people
to
who
be.
can actually. This may sound harsh and it may sound funny, but the reality of it, you're talking about blues by people who can really sing.
Right, that's true. That's true.
Hey guys, let me tell you how you can get official Talking About the Blues merchandise. Go to our online store at www.talkingabouttheblues.com where you can purchase t-shirts, hoodies, mouse pads, mugs, and iPad cases. Once you receive your merchandise, send us a pic and we'll post it on our website and different social media sites to let people know you are a part of the Talking About the Blues community. Keep bluesing.
So now, we're a young lady with a guitar in a room. I'm setting the stage here for you. And you're dealing with your inner turmoils or your inner frustrations of life. How did you go from the room to the stage?
Wow. Well, I did end up singing in a choir in my junior high. I did sing in and they made me be the solo because I had such a loud voice. I think my loud voice and my I'm very hyper and I'm fast and I'm just I'm like the Tasmanian devil. That's one of my nicknames. And so it's hard to blend me. Okay, I can't blend very well.
That's okay,
so
neither can I.
They made me the solo in, the choir, and then, so I guess I got people started to realize I had this good voice, which my mother had an amazing voice, really amazing voice, and I just wanted to emulate her. So then in high school, I had a friend that played guitar, and he was doing Simon and Garfunkel stuff, and somehow, we were nerds, all three of us, and we started playing Simon and Garfunkel songs, and I started to get attached to the folk, that whole folksy feel, and then I heard Cat Stevens, to me, who took the folk and really gutsy stuff, but also positive spin on the folksy. He's about the world will be better if you just smile, or, the earthy stuff about Cat Stevens. I was really attracted to that, and so that became my motivation to do more on the guitar, sing more, and then I started to do open mics. I started to do open mics, but I didn't do them all the time. I was an actress at that point. I did some modeling, and I did some open mics because people would say, "Oh, Kelly, come do this open mic. You played me that song a couple months ago. I love that song. Come play it in front of people." Okay, so I did, and then somehow, then I kind of gave it up for a while. I was in the car business for a little while there, selling cars, and I went through so much turmoil with that I ended up going almost to the lowest point in my life, and it made me realize what is it that I really wanted to do. I wanted to do music. And I was 34 years old. I was 34 years old. And I've always been a late bloomer, so I just started looking in the, recycler, and I found a guy that played guitar, and him and I played guitar together, and then Alex came in as a bass player, and she was so swept away by me, as she said. She put a band around me, and Kelly's Lot was started.
Wow.
That's, it all came out of just a lot of pain for me that I ever did these things.
Yeah, which is an honest story, and which is why your music sounds the way it does. Because I don't know if I told you that you guys sound great.
Thank you.
I really hate comparing people for several reasons. One, I don't want to put a label on an artist because everybody's an individual. And two, as much as I know this is a business, I still loathe the fact that for people to understand your business, they need a comparison. So I don't like comparing artists to other artists.
Yeah, but I don't mind because that's what we have. That's I'm inspired by other people. That's what we have. We don't have, Jack. We don't have anything else. We have what we grew up with. So if I'm going to listen to other people and be inspired by them, I can't not expect people to compare me to some of the inspirations I've had.
Okay, well, thank you, and you're absolutely right. But what is this song that? Oh man, it started off slow, and then the dynamics just changed, and you were wailing, and Perry was wailing, then the entire band started wailing. But I'm watching you guys, and all I felt was. I saw it brought me to watching Jefferson Airplane at Woodstock.
Wow. Well, that's a great that's a compliment. There's a lot of passion in that band.
Yeah, there was a lot of passion. I saw it.
And they're bluesy, and they're rock, and they're all the different genres are mixing in that. Yeah,
well, it's funny because I wanted to discuss that with you because. And I feel horrible. I don't remember the name of the song. I remember that you had on a coat with a fur around the collar and around the sleeves.
Is it a music video? I mean, is it a YouTube video?
Yes.
So it's either Right Now or Unsure.
It might be
And it's live at the Irwindale Speedway, I think. I think that's the only video I have with that fur coat.
Yeah.
Well, it's not real fur. Let's make it clear. It's faux. It's not even a fur coat. It's like a Janis Joplin coat, right? The purple coat looks like Janis.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the passion, and you expressed, okay guys, we're gonna start like this and we're gonna go into it, but then the passion just really oozed out of this performance.
I think it's unsure because we start slow and then we end up going fast.
Exactly.
That's unsure. That was an old little folky tune I wrote, 15 years ago that we turned into a blues tune, like a bluesy rock tune,
Exactly. But to your point of the mixtures of cultured music, I heard everything in there, but it wasn't all over the place. It was so great. I even heard pieces of reggae in there.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely there are. There are little pieces of reggae and ska mixed up.
Yes. You guys are serious. And you've been in a lot of magazines. Let's talk about all these magazines. Because for what it's worth, you've made this a bit... Actually, let me ask you this. Because, I'm a late bloomer as well. So let me ask you, being a late bloomer and starting this journey, this part of your journey as an adult, did that help you better in being able to focus and understand this is a business?
I definitely think it helped. It was, for me, it helped because before that age, before I was, 34, I don't know if I couldn't focus on things or what, but I had so many fears, and I just wasn't ready to really give of myself in front of people. I couldn't do it. I mean, the acting was different because I could do it. When I was doing a couple films, it was easier. It wasn't really in front of people. But when I did the plays I did, it was more difficult. I wanted to disappear in the background after I would perform. And you can't really do that being a singer.
Right.
So I think that's probably why I avoided singing for so long. You can't really just sing and then never be seen again that night. You have to go out and talk to everybody and be nice. And,
when I was younger, you know how I handled that?
What?
With a lot of whiskey and beer.
Oh, yeah. Me too. The last couple songs of the set, you have a few beers and then it's a little easier. But I've again, back to my age, it was easier as I got older to, appreciate. Even though I've always appreciated, I got that from my mom, I always felt blessed for all the small things. I always really appreciate everything I got. It's still, I think for me, I think there's some young people coming up that they're so ready for that. I would not have been ready for that. I do believe in my heart that if I had done the music when I was younger, it would have just, I don't know, it could be dead or something bad would have happened.
Wow.
Because I wasn't ready to have attention.
Right.
I couldn't have attention back then.
Right.
I quit acting because I was getting attention. So I just, it took me to be 34 years old to go, I want to do something with this music, and I can't just play in a room by myself. I want to give this woman a chance. Alex, who wanted to take me for my first gig at the Roxy. That was going to be my first gig with the band. It was like so intimidating. But I had to make that decision. Okay, this is a new thing. You have to get out there and get attention. But that was hard for me when I was younger.
Trust me, I totally dig it. Now I have to sidestep from the music for a moment because we have to talk about this acting thing.
Yeah.
Don't be embarrassed because I'm going to be calling you in the future for a role. So don't get embarrassed. Don't get embarrassed now.
Please, I would love it. I've done a little bit in the last 10 years just for a friend. I did some stuff, but I love acting, but you really have to focus if you're acting and you have to give everything you have. Where in music you can kind of dance around it and you can just be distracted a little and come back. You can be just, that's a little more loosey-goosey. It's a little more loosey-goosey being a musician-singer than acting. But I would love to do some more acting.
So how did you get into acting? How did that come about? What made you say, I want to do this?
Well, I'm such a ham. I'm the Tasmanian devil ham. That's basically who I was. Even though I didn't want attention, I would, from my, this is kind of silly, but I used to, walk in front of the TV, sticking my stomach out as far as I can to make my whole family laugh. Okay, that was one of the things that I used to do. I used to just want to make people laugh and that kind of thing. And so I can't remember where I got the acting bug. I think it was in college. I did a play, and I played like the evil sister in Cinderella or something, and I enjoyed the character acting. I didn't really ever want to be like the leading lady. I wanted to kind of do the character acting because then you could become somebody else.
Right.
Really become somebody else. I think when you're a lead actress, you kind of have to put yourself into it and your personality and your charisma, where a character portrayal has to be, most of them you have to completely change.
Right. You got fun.
I loved that. And so I did that, a little bit of that in some plays. I did some really weird plays in Silver Lake, California, and all these really old, crazy theaters where people were nuts and crazy and, artistic and all that. It was like rundown, joints that were turned into theaters that I was playing hookers and animals and all this kind of weird stuff. And it was great. And then I just got discovered by an agent, and they started putting me up for roles that were like leading ladies. And so that's all I was getting sent in for, was leading lady roles, and it was more like how pretty you are. They were interviewing you, how are you doing, tell me about yourself, all that. And I was completely uncomfortable with that. I was just completely uncomfortable. I wasn't ready for that. And so I did a small film where I had to go on location, and I came back, and I freaked out. I didn't want to do that. I just didn't feel like I could do it. And so I quit, and I don't know what I did then. Then I went off, and somehow I got into a bunch of different, businesses, and I did the car business for a little bit. And then finally I decided to do music, which is what I probably,
Yeah, your true calling.
Wanted to do it all the time. But I will say this, I'm going to be honest, when you really want to do something, you don't do it because you're afraid. You're even more afraid of the rejection of the thing you really want to do.
Yes.
So acting, they could reject me all day long because that wasn't what I really wanted.
Yeah.
I wanted to play guitar and sing my songs to people. I wanted, even if it was one-on-one, I wanted people to hear the songs I wrote. That's what I wanted, but that was too scary, too scary because people would reject me.
Right, and they're rejecting something that you really care about. I dig it 100%.
Yeah, pretty black and white. I was afraid to do what I really wanted to do, so I didn't do it.
Right, but then when you did it, it was supposed to happen. Look at the setup, from what you expressed earlier. Now, I want to talk to you about your songwriting process.
Sure.
What is it?
It's so funny you asked me that because, I don't know if you've seen, but sometimes I interview people on YouTube channel. Do you ever see my interviews?
Yes.
So, I did a thing over at NAMM, which is a music conference at Anaheim every year, and I interviewed a bunch of songwriters, and my first question would be, so what's your songwriting process? And about 95% of them all looked at me like I was crazy. But I understand that word when you asked me that, but they were like, well, there isn't a process. Like they felt I was not minimalizing. I was making it to like a serious thing, or it was I don't know what it should have had a more artistic word than the word process. I don't know, but then they would tell me how they wrote a song, and I would go, well, see, that's a process. Because I was just like floored by the people that were process. This is a creative thing I do. There's no process to it, and I'd say, okay, well, how do you write a song? I mean, we're talking, what's it called? We're just talking, words here. But
right, we're just shooting the shit.
My process is my main process now with the band is Perry and I write a lot of songs together, and either he'll come up with some cool riffs on the guitar, and I'll start singing some melody along with it. I'll say, okay, try to find a bridge. Let's try to find a bridge together. So we do that. That's some of the more bluesy rock numbers.
Right.
Some of the new songs on the new CD, where they're more blues than, say, rock. Somebody wanted to sing me to record some blues tunes and original, so I had about a week to write like 6 songs, and I just went in my room and started playing, the 12-bar blues on my guitar, but, in my own folksy way. It was, I'm like a folkie, so I was playing the A, the E, and the D.
Right.
Just trying to do the 12-bar blues. And as soon as I started playing those chords, the way, the blues guys, the strumming the way the blues guys do. So many songs came to me. And so I wrote, these songs and brought them to Perry, and then he changed them up a little bit, each one, so that they weren't all the same rhythm, because I don't know how to play a lot of rhythms, but he does. So he took one song, it was fully written, fully done, but it just needed a better rhythm, and he would make a rhythm for me on the guitar. And then another song, and then he said, let's slow this one down, let's speed this one up. And so he definitely gets in and helps me finish a song.
So would you say that you're the songwriter and Perry would be the producer?
The producer, is that what you said?
Yes.
Or he's kind of like an arranger, but yes, he is a producer. He definitely produces the albums, and the CDs we do with other people. We always try to get somebody else involved so that he doesn't have to have all responsibility, and it's good to have a fresh ear.
Right.
But he knows how to get me to sing the right way. He knows how to say, Kelly, quit the bull on that one. Just give me, hold back a little on that line. You're giving me too much. He doesn't have he knows how to tell me what to do. It's pretty cool after all these years. He knows my tricks and my, I try to sometimes when I record, I try to finish the song really fast and let's just get it over with, okay, because we got other things to do. And that's terrible, because when you're in the studio, you should give just as much as you give on stage.
Right.
In the studio. But I was almost like, okay, I got to go cook dinner. I got to go walk my dog. I got to sing that song, and I got to take a bath. It was all in the four, kind of the same, the same thing, and they're not the same thing.
Right.
But that's kind of my personality, and so I've learned that I have to try to just take deep breaths and really dive into a creative cloud, even if it slows me down, and enjoy the moment. And feel it and really go with it in the studio. It's been hard for me to do that because I don't have a problem doing that on stage. On stage, something about being on stage that gives me the permission to just go as deep as I can and just become a freak almost, because that's what I always say, become a freak, because I care about the audience, but I want to be so raw that they care about me and then I care about them.
Right.
That's my whole, I don't even try to be raw. I just only can be raw. I don't know how to be. I can be not raw for 10 minutes on stage, but if I'm not raw longer than that, I start to feel uncomfortable.
Right.
Does that make sense to you, Jack?
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense.
We can fake it for 10 minutes. If people want to call it fake it, but it's not really faking it. That's giving it too of a generalized word. It's really you're waiting for the moment to kick in where you're lost.
Yeah, in the music. I think Janis Joplin said it the best. You can't dance around the top. You got to get in it.
Right.
Yeah, so that's really groovy. So let me ask you, I've asked one of the artists this because he said something similar about his stage performance. And I want to ask you, in the studio, because a lot of times studio recordings sound different from live performances because it's in a more controlled environment.
All right.
How do you, including Perry, but how do you get to that point, or do you get to that point where you bring that stage performance into the studio so you can have the same sound, or do you tone it down intentionally because now we're recording?
I think, honestly, this last CD I did, Perry toned me down because, I was just growling, not growling, not really growl, but I have an edge. I was doing that too much, and if you have it on a recording, it doesn't go over as well. If it's over, people are listening to a song over and over and over again. He wanted to people to experience a softer side to me, and he kind of calmed me down. But for me, what I've learned is that if you can give it your all and you have a good guide, like a producer, the guitar player in your band that can say, okay, do it again, or give me more of this. If you can give it your all, but then have a guide that says, okay, give me that one line, but not so harsh.
Right.
To me, that's the best thing for me, because I can't plan it.
Right.
It's hard for me to plan it, but if I'm in the middle of singing that song in a studio and they say, that was great, but I want you to do it again this way. And then they go in and they cut and paste. You know, cutting and pasting is really a fabulous art in recording, because you may have one line where, you know, the singer is just right there, and then the other one doesn't sound as right there, so you have them sing that again.
Right.
Okay? I never really embraced that way of recording until recently, because I have 4 or 5 live albums. I'm all about the live albums. I love live albums, and I'm not afraid to do live albums. But I've been steering clear of a cut and paste kind of recordings, but it's actually an art for the mixer and the producer.
Right, right.
And it actually works. It actually works if they know what they're doing.
Hey y'all, this is Mrs. D. You can hear Talking About the Blues podcast on Podomatic, YouTube, and iTunes. Remember to rate the show and show us some love.
A lot of people don't know how the production of a record is done, other
Right.
than the artists or the band goes into the studio and record, and they think that's just it. They go in, they write a song, they go in, play the music, sing, and it's all, you know, they mix it and get it out. You just explained something that's been going on a long time, because, you know, David Ruffin said something similar. He was like, they want me to sing it the way they wrote it, but I couldn't sing it that way, so I would give them that version, then I'll give them my version, and then they'll go and put it together how they put it together, which is what you just said.
Right.
Could you allow...
You know, it's interesting. Basically, you know, you go in and you sing the song 5 times, and then the producer picks the best lines and puts them all together, you know, and hopefully they go well together, because you haven't been too crazy on one, and, you know, sometimes it doesn't work if you're not. But you can be different. It's up to them on how they record you, the microphone, the distance the microphone is from you. But the cut and paste thing really is an art form for the producers. Okay, it's an art form. And, you know, you go hear people live, and I've heard many times in these 20 years, man, I never really, you know, heard you sing that one line in that song like you did tonight. You know, that, you know, when you did Happy Girl, when you said that line, I've never heard you sing it like that before. You know, that's what you're trying to do in the studio, because that is going to be played over and over and over and over and over again. Where your live performance, unless it's a live CD, you know, people are gone after that. They're done.
Right,
So you want to get the best of every line. You want to get the best, the most emotional, maybe the least emotional, because it's leading up to an emotional line. You know, you want to tell a story, and if you're trying to tell a story while you're singing, and you have a list in front of you that says, okay, on this line you got to pull back a little, on this line you got to be really loud, or not loud, but be more tense, and on this, you're not going to be feeling the song.
No.
Okay, so, you know, really, I mean, sure, I've got a CD, Pastrami and Jam, that is one of, you know, our favorites, and a lot of people, and it was just done in one time through. It wasn't in front of a live audience, but it was one time through. One bass note was fixed. Nothing else was done to that recording. It was just as a favor to a friend. He said, can you come over and stand in a circle with the band and sing 10 songs? I'm working out this recording system, and I want to practice with it with you guys. He hit record, and it came out great. And it was because we were all relaxed, but we were tired. So the tired came into the factor. It was after a morning gig. All these factors just happened to come into a perfect storm for that. But a lot of times you don't, you know, you can't plan that.
Right. You can't. So let me ask you, as a veteran performer that's pretty much found, I don't want to say found, but has the ingredients to your success, because everybody's journey is different, but you figured out how to platform Kelly's Lot. If a young lady or a young male artist approaches you for some advice or suggestions, what would you tell them?
Well, I definitely would tell them to learn a couple songs. Let's step away from songwriting at this point, just performing. That to learn a couple songs and go to blues jams, because, you know, blues is a good one to start at, you know what I mean, especially for just singers, you know, and sing these songs with people around you and see if you like that, you know. Learn the guitar and start, you know, playing songs, writing songs, just start doing it, first of all. Just start doing it. But I like the idea of having them go play with other people. I've kind of mentored a couple of teenagers, and my niece was one of them. And she wanted to be a singer, and my mother, her grandmother, was like, "You got to help her. You got to help her." I go, "Okay," and I'm kind of a tough love auntie. I'm not going to just give it to her. So I said, "All right, you can sing in my band at the Malibu Chili Cook-Off, but you got to learn one of my songs, not a song you've been listening to on the radio, not a song you know, but one of my songs I wrote. Okay, so the band knows it. You got to learn it." She didn't want to do it. She wanted to learn like a Taylor Swift song or something that she knew.
Right.
She'd been singing in the shower. But she did. She learned it. She did it great. She did a great job. Then I said, "Okay, now I want you to pick a song that you love, and the band will learn it." And I was shocked when she picked "Piece of My Heart" by Janis Joplin.
Wow.
Okay. So we learned the song because we weren't doing it at the time, and I was like, "Really?" Because I was always afraid to sing that song. I didn't. The band didn't learn it because I didn't. I was afraid to sing it. And so she wanted to sing that song. I'm like, "Great." So she learned it. She sang with the band, blew it out of the park, amazing. And then a couple weeks later, she said, "I don't want to be a singer anymore."
Wow.
Because even though she was great at it, she saw all the hard work she had to put into it, and for that. Because sometimes people want to do singing, but they don't realize that singing is only a teeny portion of it.
Yeah, the preparation is the work.
Yeah, and it's not singing. So if you want to be a graphic artist, most of your work you're going to do is going to be kind of graphic artist.
Right.
Most of that work you're going to do is on the computer creating things. But if you want to be a singer, you're going to get like 10% of singing.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what she learned. And so that's what I would say to mentor somebody would be, get out there, get some friends, just start jamming with other musicians. And if you can't do that, then you don't love it.
Right.
If you can't do that, you don't love it. Now go ahead and try out for American Idol and The Voice, and if you can make that, I love that new opportunity for people, because people like Carrie Underwood, who's been working since she was 5 years old, going to fairs and singing, she finally made it famous because of American Idol.
Right.
She deserved that.
She worked hard, yes.
Right. So people think, oh, they just made it through American Idol. No, you can't you can get famous for a second, but then you got to work at it and still keep it going. And, but yeah, I would tell them that. I would tell them to make sure, I tell them to feel it. Are you feeling it? Are you feeling those words? Or are you just singing them because you're doing a run?
Right.
Sing the national anthem and don't do any runs and see how you feel about it.
That's real.
That's real, man. Singing, oh, say, can you see? Just without runs, without any twirls and twiddles and all that. Just sing it and listen to the words while you're singing it. What does that do for you? Sing At Last without doing any runs. How does that feel for you?
Right.
Because the runs are great, and I love all that stuff, but that's let's not focus on that right now. You may have that naturally, you may have to work on it, but that's something you can create.
If you
but
feel
you can't
it.
create how you feel.
There you go. Because a lot of times, if you're feeling it, it's just going to come out.
Right.
So now, where could the good people find Kelly's Lot? On social media, on the internet, upcoming performances?
They can find us everywhere. We are we've got it everywhere online. It's the band is Kelly's Lot, but because they don't allow apostrophes in, on the web, it's Kelly Slot. So kellyslot.com, Kelly's Lot, Facebook.com/Kelly's Lot. We're everywhere. You just have to Google us and you'll see everything. YouTube, we have our own channel, and there's other channels that feature us, and we're just getting started. We're just getting started because I discovered the blues when I was really young, and I'm rediscovering the blues, Jack. Now I'm rediscovering them the last few years, really rediscovering. And I always say that I'm on the bridge to the blues. I don't consider my band a blues band, but you'll be hearing a traditional blues album out of me sometime. You'll be hearing, because I love all that. I just have other aspects like that you like, that a lot of people like. And
No,
that
it
I
sounds
like.
dope. Yeah, I mean, look, you guys really sound good. Make no mistakes about it. And for what it's worth, folk, funk, soul, rhythm and blues, southern soul, that's southern rock. That's all based in the blues.
It is, and it's so funny because I was, I knew that you were going to call me, so I wanted to. I did this search on Tom Jones. You know Tom Jones, right?
Yes.
It's not unusual. Okay. I did a search on him because my mother, that was the male that she'd always listened to. She loved Tom Jones, along with these fabulous women, Della Reese, Julie London, Nancy Wilson, all them. That was the guy in the mix for my mom, okay? She listened to some Frank Sinatra, Ray Charles. She did listen to a lot of Ray Charles. But Tom Jones was in the mix. And, his history is that he loved the blues, and he tried to do the blues with, I can't remember that song. He said something like Chills and Fever. Well, that's what it was. He had it didn't become a hit. Nobody really liked it, but it was this kind of like this Little Richard kind of thing going on. And that's where he was based out of, and that's why he was such a great singer, because of that's what his love of the blues, I think, he brought into the pop.
Right.
He brought that into the pop. He brought that into, women throwing underwear.
Yeah.
The craziness of and the gut-wrenching stuff he did, and that's why women threw underwear at him, because he was raw.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, as a male, now that I'm married, I can't appreciate that. But as a young man on the stage, that's something that you always look forward to.
No, I totally get it, but I just was wondering why I really was so. No, I wasn't enamored by him, but why was my mom, who was such a deep feeling individual, and I think it was because he was into gospel and blues. I think she sensed that out of him, and she loved. By the way, she played a lot of gospel too. I loved gospel. I didn't go to church, but my mom played some great gospel.
Well,
and the blues. You're right. The blues is why we're all here.
Yeah, blues and gospel and spirituals, absolutely. And for what it's worth, church is where you are, because God is everywhere.
I agree with that 100%. I love it. I just love it, and I just can't wait to do more and more and more of it. Like I said, I feel like I'm just getting started in the blues, and I think I just might have to do a gospel album as well.
Why not?
Why
I
not?
would love to hear your voice belting gospel.
Me too. Me too, Jack.
Well, it'll happen from
I
our
think
lips
so
to his
too. I have
ears.
the opportunity. The thing is, I'm blessed, and I have the opportunity. And I do think that God needs to, be out there more in a sense where we all can relate to it. Everybody has a different God. A lot of people have different gods. And if we can all just come to an agreement that that's a good thing, and that God is a good thing.
Yes. No, I dig it. And yeah. I'm really happy that we finally were able to sit down and chop it up on talking about the blues. We've been discussing doing this for some time.
Yep, me too.
And welcome, finally, now I can say welcome to the Talking About the Blues family.
I am honored. And I love that you're putting your energy and your, your fire to it, because keep it going. It doesn't have to make you tons of money. It just has to make you happy.
Basically.
Or maybe even a little bit of money. It doesn't have to make you.
Yeah, a little bit of money is good, but what's taking over the world and losing your soul? I'd rather be happy on minimum wage than angry with a ton of wealth.
That's right.
And music, definitely, when I'm sad and when I'm happy, music has always been a part, and your story is great, and it's true and it's real. And I'm sure you know this, but I would like to say so many people relate to this. What this platform is, what most people don't realize, some people, I don't want to say attack, but they misconstrue what we're doing. But the reality of the situation is, in celebrating our heritage, we're also making a platform for everybody to see that we all have similar stories. This is beyond. This is human experience.
Right. 100%.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Did you guys hear this? Okay. Kelly, it was beyond a pleasure and an honor. We got to get you back up in here. And when you come to New York, please let me know.
You got it. We want to get there, and we got France in September, and then supposed to go to Texas in November, I think. But we got to get to New York. I mean, I played there a couple times, and I love it. So I got to get back there.
Well, we're working on some stuff because we need to get some more. We're working on some stuff, and I will definitely keep you posted, especially if you want to come out here and perform. We will, hopefully, if what we're working on works out.
I'll come out anytime you let me know. I've got friends and family there. I can, it costs me next to nothing to go. You just let me know, okay?
There it is. There it is. All right.
There it is.
So y'all have been bluesing. We're talking about the blues. And remember, if you don't do nothing, keep God first and keep on bluesing.